All right. So the reason I want to talk to you about confidence in your calling is because, like I said, in entrepreneurship, we are called to step in and serve and make a difference. We're called to solve issues, bring solutions. We're called to help people get from here to here. So if you are stepping it up as a coach, maybe a business coach, a life coach, a financial coach, a fitness coach, whatever it is, you help people get from where they are to where it is that they want to be in that area of their life. And none of your customers, when it comes to coaching, care what your certification is, nor would they even know what that is. What they care about is, can you help me get from here to here? Can you help me get from frustration island to possibility island? Because that's where I want to go. And do you have the best vehicle to get there? Are you the one that's going to help me get there? So when we think about having a guide to help us get from A to Z, we don't care so much what the letters are after their name. We care that they know how to get from A to Z and that they can help us get there. Are you going to be a guide who can help me get there? Now, one of the best ways to know that someone's a good guide to help you get there is because they've done it. They've been there. So if somebody has followed a journey or followed a path, or you want to get from here to here and they've done it, that's a great guide. There's no certification degree required, but it's so confusing for our brains when we are called to step in at that level, because we have been groomed and trained up through the education system that we have to go get a degree in something and then work in that field. So we're going against everything we've been trained up to believe by saying, oh, I know how to get from here to here. I've done it. Let's just say you lost 100 pounds. You've kept it off for the last 5 years. Would you rather go to someone who's lost 100 pounds and kept it off for the past 5 years, or to someone who maybe knows a lot about nutrition or whatever it is, but has no idea what that feels like, has no clue the depth of the emotion of cravings or whatever it is that you go through, or patterns or habits, or even maybe the belief systems that had you get there in the first place, right? So my point of this is, when we talk today about having confidence in your calling, when we talk about it in entrepreneurship, it is literally confidence in your calling, because you have to break free from this belief system that you have to have a degree in something to go and help people get from A to Z, because that's what we've been trained up to believe. So it's totally normal that your brain kind of goes into misfire. Your brain goes, what am I doing? What am I doing stepping out as a coach? What am I doing stepping out as a consultant? What am I doing stepping out as an expert in this area? I don't have my degree in it, and maybe there isn't even a degree in it. You know, I know there's certifications in a lot of different arenas. You can go get certifications. I tell my clients all the time, people come to me many times with the certification. They'll be certified as a John Maxwell coach, or some fitness coaching I've never heard of, or some life coaching I've never heard of, or some Christian-based coaching certification I've never heard of. And I think that's great, because if they're certified in something, all that tells me is that they feel more confident, typically, in going out there and doing their thing. But the truth is, their customers could care less if they have XYZ certification or not. No one even knows what that means, honestly. If you ever have a certification, all it should be, the only reason you should ever do that is because it gives you a sense of confidence. And you know what your customers want more than anything is confidence in you. If you don't have confidence in yourself, no one's going to follow you. No one's going to follow you. And we all have to start somewhere. So if you have to get your first client, and it's your first client, you having confidence will have you actually get that first client, versus someone who has no confidence because they've never had a client before. Well, you're not going to have that client if you don't just own your value. And what I wanted to talk about today, there's so much more I could break down on this, but I just want to emphasize today that you really get to step up and own it. And what that involves is you actually getting that you are qualified and equipped to do this. And you make the decision and you step up. And I'll tell you, the biggest difference between someone who is sitting there not getting any results, not making any impact in anybody's life, not getting any coaching clients, not having any online presence, versus someone who's making a six-figure income or maybe millions of dollars in the same industry. It's not because one person had more letters after their name or more certifications. In many cases, it's not because the other person had a lot more experience even. The biggest difference is that one person gave themselves full permission to step in to what they've been called to do. No questions asked. Call me, I'll go, I'm going to step up and I'm going to serve. And the other person sat there and doubted themselves, thought, who am I to do this? Right? And by the way, that hesitation, that doubt of who am I, that's human. We all have that. But the question is, are you going to listen to that and then stay sitting on the sidelines or on the bench? Or are you going to stop listening to that and actually just step up and get it? Because the truth is, one of the things I'm constantly giving my clients feedback on is who they really are and reframing their value. So let me explain it this way. Someone might come to me and say, actually, this just happened today. I'll give you an example. I had one of my amazing clients come on my office hours today. And she mentioned to me, you know, I have some money blocks, I have some stuff going on. And one of the things that I've done with my family is we lived off a very small amount of money every single month for many, many years in a row. And I said, all right, so yes, we talked about the money mindset stuff, but I also pointed out, you know what, that makes you very qualified to help other large families live on a small budget. Because the truth is, if you did that for that many years, I guarantee you figured out some systems. You figured out some formulas and some blueprints for how to make that work and how to make sure the family was taken care of on a very small budget all of those years. I bet you had an approach that you took, maybe you realized it or didn't, but that had you get through that had you thrive through that and get to where you are now. And you can actually teach that to other people. So it's like reframing the very thing that you might even have insecurities about. Oh, but I used to be like this. Oh, but I used to this. You know what? That can actually become a credibility point because you know what it's like to be there. You walked through that. You got through that. And how did you get through that? What was the process? You might not even realize you have processes, formulas, and blueprints until you go back and look at what you've walked through. But I will say this, I see it all the time in my clients, I see it all the time in people, that it's very hard for us to connect our own dots sometimes. But when I look at someone, I can see how it's so perfectly orchestrated, the story that they have, the journey that they've been on, and I'm talking to you. You have a story, you have a journey, you've been through a lot, you've overcome things, you have a unique set of challenges that you've overcome, that you've persevered through, and you top that with your unique personality that nobody else has, and then you top that with, you know, your training that you have as well. Maybe you learned from someone else. Maybe you've been on the internet for 10 years. Maybe you've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in personal growth and different things. Maybe you've led Bible studies. You've done this, you've done that. So you have equipping and training. You have your unique personality, your unique perspective. And then on top of that, you have your unique journey and story. And I'm going to give you a worksheet that helps you put all this together. I'm going to tell you exactly how you can get access to that worksheet. But I wanted to share with you today that it starts with you really giving yourself permission to step into what you've been called to do. If you think of many stories in the Bible, many of the people in the Bible didn't feel qualified at all to do what they were called to do. Let's just look at Moses, for example. He was leading God's people and he said, I can't even public speak. You know, I have a stutter. I can't even talk right. He didn't feel comfortable. How many of you guys can relate to that, right? I know I can. When I first started on video, I was so uncomfortable, but after lots of practice, I got better. But public speaking, same thing, used to be terrified, got better with practice. The thing is, we often don't feel qualified in what we're called to do. But I do want to give you a really important closing message here. That if you've been called to do it, there's no mistake that that calling is on your heart. Not everybody gets that calling, by the way. You might think everybody has that calling, but it's special and it's rare and it's unique and it's specific to you. So if you have walked through something and you can help other people to walk through it and you feel called to do that, there's no mistake in that. You know, your pain and your perseverance can be used for a purpose, and that's what you're being called to do. Now, do you have all the answers? Do you have it all figured out? Do you feel like you're the most qualified and equipped person yet? No, but that's okay. You've still been called to do it. And that's why it requires faith to step out and do it. But I do want to remind you that the biggest qualification you have is that you've been called. That's the biggest one, that you've been called and that you're raising your hand to say, send me, I'll go. That's your biggest qualification. You know, when we don't feel totally equipped and totally qualified to do something, man, you would think it would be quiet downtown with a quarantine, but you still hear the sirens. They're still going strong. You know, ultimately, it's okay to say, I'm not qualified at all, yet God called me to this, and I'm willing to do it, right? That's an amazing place to be, of humility, but yet I'm stepping up to serve people. I'm not perfect. I don't have all the answers. I'm not the perfect best one to be in this role, but send me, I'll go. It's going to take a lot. It takes a lot to step up. It takes a lot to put yourself out there. It takes a lot to, you know, put content out there and make an impact and make a difference in the world. And if you're one of the few that's willing to step up and do it, that is your most qualified quality right there. But you add to that your unique story. You're one of the few that have been called and you'll step up. But then you add to that, you have your unique story, your experience. You have a calling on your heart to serve a certain type of people or bring a certain type of solution. And you have your unique gifts and talents. God gave you unique spiritual gifts, like gifts that you have that other people don't have. You have a unique combination. Then you have your personality. Then you have your perspective on top of that. Then you have your training and unique experiences that you have, whether it be a degree. So for example, I have my master's degree in speech and language pathology. And when it comes to, you know, speech therapy and helping children develop speech or helping those who have lost speech regain their speech, it's kind of interesting when you think about what I do now, which is helping entrepreneurs to communicate their message to the world. It all comes hand in hand. It really does. It's self-expression. It's your ability to express what it is that you have inside of you with the world. And we do that through marketing and messaging and all the things online. But again, the biggest thing is you could say all the right things and you could do all the right things, but if you don't have any confidence, if you keep questioning if you're even qualified to do this, take all that pressure off of you. You're not meant to be perfect. You're not meant to be the perfect one. You can even stand and saying, I'm not qualified at all, and I don't know why God's calling me to this, but I'm one of the few that's willing to step up and do something about it. So let's get on with making this about other people, because it's not about me at all. That's when things get really fun in entrepreneurship. I can promise you that. So I wanted to encourage you with that. Now, like I said, I'm going to tell you exactly how you can get access to the Confidence in Your Calling worksheet. Now, I'm going to put the link right down below this video. All you have to do is click on that link and you're going to get access to not only the Confidence in Your Calling worksheet, but also the video that goes along with it that helps you fill out the worksheet. After you fill out this worksheet and do this work, you're going to have a shift in your perspective. You're going to start to be able to connect the dots that really show how uniquely qualified you are to do what you've been called to do. So that's what I want to share with you today. I hope this blesses you and gives you tons of confidence to move forward in what you've been called to do, because you have full permission to do that.